Okay, so what I'm going to walk you through is the process of configuring your Student Fedora CIT 225 instance to support remote connections to the database so that you can run your Linux environment in your virtual machine and then connect to it through any other machine you want remotely, such as a Windows machine or even on your own local Windows box that's hosting the VM. First, you want to launch your Oracle VM VirtualBox Manager and come to your network and change the settings to bridged adapter. What this will do was allow your virtual machine to grab a native IP address from your active local network through the DHCP services. Once that's completed, go ahead and launch your Fedora instance. In this case, mine is already running. And then log in with your password. Once loaded, we're going to make a configuration change to your MySQL configuration file. This is done by going to Activities, Terminal, switching to root, and we're going to edit the my.cnf file located in your etc folder. In this case, I've already made the changes, but what you want to do is you want to comment out this bind address equals localhost.localdomain. This will allow it to bind to external addresses as well as its internal address. Leave port at 3306. Save the file and go ahead and exit. Now we need to make a change to your firewall rules. So clicking here on the 9 square and then typing in fire will present you your firewall configuration settings. Enter in your authentication password. And you want to go to ports. Here you want to add port 1521 TCP, 3306 TCP, and 5432 TCP. 3306 is MySQL, 5432 is Postgres, and 1521 is the Oracle database instance for the database engine. Click Options, Runtime to Permanent. That will take your runtime configuration settings and set them to your permanent settings, which then makes it so that it will persist the next time your instance reloads. Next, you want to launch your MySQL Workbench. You will then want to execute the following query. Grant all privileges on *** to student identified by can get in, which is the password that was used, with grant option. If the password isn't can get in, enter in the password that is the current password for student. Flush privileges, then execute. You're going to need the IP address. Almost forgot that. By going IP ADDR show, it will list your adapters. And in my case, my IP address for this local adapter is 192.168.12.38. Make note of that, write that down. You'll be using that in a little bit. On your Windows machine, or whatever machine it is, enter in, if you want, an alias for that IP address into your hosts file, which is located in your C, Windows, System32, drivers, etc, hosts file. Doesn't have an extension, just hosts. You can save that, and then you can use the name student to access your virtual machine. Save that file. And now, to install the software, the database, the multi-client database software, I recommend using the JetBrains product, which is free for students. All you have to do is click Apply Now, use your email address, and they will then create an account for you where you can then log in and register your products. They actually provide quite a large selection from Java support and Python, PHP, and the one that we're actually after is here, which is DataGrip. This also has some really fantastic tools for dealing with C++ and C# .NET technologies. So after you've registered for your account, I suggest downloading their Toolbox app. This tool will allow you to manage the various different applications that you have access to. It'll be located in your icon tray, which you can then run your tool. DataGrip will be one of the options here that you can install. After installing, you can go ahead and run it. So now to connect to your database. By pressing Ctrl-Alt-Shift-S, a data source manager will show up. Select from here, from your list, in this case either MySQL or an Oracle, and right-click and add. You can then add any of those types. To configure it, in my case, my IP address for my virtual machine is 192.168.12.38, which you grabbed from the terminal window. Enter that in as the host. Over here you can see that the port number is 1521 and drivers thin. When you first run it, if you don't have the JDBC drivers installed, there'll be a link either here or down here, I can't remember, that will allow you to download and install automatically the driver support for Oracle. Enter in the username, in this case it's student, and the password for my instance is also called student. Click test connection. As you can see, it was successful. Now for your MySQL instance, this will be a little bit different. In this case, you have the same IP address here, and the port number is 3306. Database in this case will be one of your database instances that you have for in your schema. This could also be store, but in mine, student DB. User is student, and the password in this case is can get in. Also, once again, if it doesn't have the JDBC driver for MySQL, an option here will be provided where you can click and download that driver and install it. Once that's done, you can click Test Connection, and you can see it's also successful. Now to actually test it. So here we can then click on our instances that will show up here as your database connection instances. By right-clicking and saying New Console File, you'll create a connection to your database instance. You can also then do this for your Oracle instance. And you'll see here the icon up in the upper left corner indicates what instance you're connected to. And what's very handy is you can see here the IntelliSense is actually reading the schema from the active database and giving me suggestions as to what tables I am actually looking for. I can then run that query and get a result set. Also here over in Oracle we can do the same thing. It's also helpful and it actually provides hints and other helps. Once again, we go ahead and run the query and the result set comes back. At this point, you should be connected and able to work with your virtual machine. Now, in this case, all you have to do is run your instance, minimize it so that the screen and console is now shut down, and you can access and do all of your various different queries and data manipulation through the JetBrains DataGrip utility.